Hey house guests, welcome to today's BB20 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Jeremy Strain. Hey Jeremy, thanks so much for the support. We really appreciate it and we think you're awesome. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day like Jeremy, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. So yesterday, the BB App Store opened for the last time with its creepy ass voice. So we found out that Haley got the crap app and she picked Read It, which means whenever Big Brother tells her to, she has to read excerpts from Hamlet. I was going to say Hamilton. How sick would that be? She's got to read from Hamlet, which is also awesome. It's a great play. And I believe she's going to be in costume, standing up on like a pedestal, podium, pulpit, whatever, and she's gonna have to eventually read the whole book. So I don't know how long each reading session will be, but she's gonna have to read aloud the whole book eventually. I mean, it's a play, it's like a few hours, but that's fun. I think that's a really fun punishment. Also, I think she's gonna have the book with her, so like she's allowed to keep reading it, but she has to read it all the way through out loud, like however Big Brother determines. You know what I mean? Like she can keep reading it on her own, but she's got to read the whole thing out loud. That's fun. Okay, so then we found out, we never get to find this out, right? But this time we found out that Bailey got the Power app. Woo! So everything we know about it, we heard from her telling Fessy. So we're not going to know for sure what all the details are until we see it on the show on Sunday, but I feel like she probably wouldn't lie to Fessy about what it is. So it sounds like she picked the identity theft one. This power is freaking nuts if it's everything that she says it is. Okay, first of all, she gets to use this once anytime from now until like final 8. What? So that's a long time. Also, the way it works, say somebody she doesn't like wins HOH and she does not want that person to make the nominations that week. She gets to be like, okay, I'm gonna nominate Bloop and Bloop secretly. And then as the HOH is getting ready for nominations and like putting the keys in the box, Big Brother's gonna be like, just to the HOH, yo, the Power app has been used. These are your nominations now. And then those nominations will be presented, and according to Bailey, the HOH is not allowed to say, like, this wasn't my choice. Like, they have to just go with it, pretend that's what they were gonna do. If that's for real, that's freaking nuts. That's nuts. I'm sure there's a way around it. Like, the HOH could be like, maybe, like, a power was used. I don't know. Because how are they gonna enforce that? Right? I mean, it's going to be pretty weird if the HOH puts up 2 of their best friends. So, either way, it's a pretty crazy power. So, that's pretty exciting for Bailey. I think that's awesome. Alright, so then, Tyler, Sam, and Casey were chatting on the Sky Bridge. They were talking about Sam's power. So she's like, okay, just to be clear, whoever I use it on has the chance to come back into the game. It's not like a set thing. So Sam thinks that the person is gonna have to come back as the robot that she was using like in the first week. She says CBS spent like $20,000 on each robot, so they're not gonna like waste that. You know, she feels like they're gonna use them again. I mean, you never know, they could come back at some point, but not for this. So then Tyler's like, I don't know, maybe like that person will just have to compete against somebody else in a battle back to come back. You're getting closer. So Sam is like, also important for you guys to know, if I don't use it this week, next week it's automatically gonna go to whoever was evicted. So we gotta figure out how we're gonna play this here. She says that she was saving it for obviously herself, either Tyler or Casey, Scottie, or maybe even Angela, but they should all be safe this week. So she doesn't know like if they're gonna do something crazy and use it this week, or just like try to figure out who's gonna be evicted next week and be like, hey, you're gonna be safe. So they're all saying we've got to win the next HOH so that we can control who gets evicted, but you still can't really control that 100% if you're the HOH. But I know what they mean. Alright, so then it's time for the nomination ceremony, and Scottie stuck to his guns, put up Brett and Winston, and I gotta say, good for you for tuning out all the noise because Tyler, JC, and Level 6 were pushing hard for Rockstar to go up. Scottie went into this week knowing what he wanted to do. He just tuned all that out, did his thing. I don't know if it's the smartest game move for him because, yeah, Rockstar has actually been saying that Scottie's like this evil genius mastermind. But at the same time, Brett and Winston have said that they don't like Scottie and they want to go after him. So either way, he'd be going after, you know, it would be good for him. But I think he made the right decision because I don't see Rockstar going after Scottie before she goes after Level 6 people, right? Right? Okay. So anyway, it definitely looks like Brett is the primary target for Scottie this week because he's so much more charming and so much more charismatic than Winston. Scottie is very intimidated by that. He knows that it's going to be difficult to get Brett out down the line, and he doesn't want to get misted by Brett. But he doesn't even realize that Tyler is the ultimate mister this season. Okay, so then after the ceremony, Scottie brings Brett up to the HOH room to chat. And he's just telling Brett why he put him up. I think it was pretty much everything that he said during the nomination ceremony. He was like, Brett, you've got connections with literally every girl in the house, and it would be impossible to get you out later in the game. You would be unstoppable like Paul last season. And he says that you and Winston are always going to vote together, and he's got to split that up. Okay, so then he was saying, I wanted to give you a chance to play in the power veto because I respect you as a competitor. That's nice. So then Brett was like, okay, cool, thank you. He says he's offered Scottie safety in the past, and he's been straight up with him. He says that he wanted to work with Scottie. No. I mean, I guess he wanted to, like, work with him when it was convenient, but I don't think he had any long-term plans with Scottie. So he says, you know what, I hate to say this, but you've drawn the line now, and it is what it is. Like, he wasn't combative about it. He was just like, you've drawn the line now. That's how it's going to be. So he says, I think you made the wrong choice, because there are some people here who I think have been abusing their personal relationships with you. I mean, they've been throwing Rockstar under the bus for the last 2 days. But he's like, thank you again for letting me play in the veto. I really like that. So Scottie's like, yeah, man, I would have told you beforehand that you were going up, but that's against the rules, so I couldn't. That's, like, the lamest excuse that people use. Because, like, yeah, I'm sure technically in the rule book it says, like, you can't tell someone they're going up, but come on. There's ways around that. Okay, so that was all very calm and civil. Cool. Now, Brett and Winston check in with each other in the have-not room. Winston is still fuming. He's, like, freaking out. And they're saying one of us has to win the veto no matter what, because if they don't, one of them is definitely going home. So Brett is telling him about the chat with Scottie, and Winston's like, oh yeah, I'm going to say pretty much the same thing when I talk to him, but I can't yet because I got to calm down first. And then he says that right now he wants to take Scottie by the throat and slam him up against the wall like high school. What the F? First of all, did you go to Degrassi? Like, what? Did you go to some, like, Hollywood high school? No. And then it just, like, really bothers me because Winston was one of my favorites going into this season from the preseason interviews, and, like, he freaking sucks. That's messed up. So Winston is saying he wants to go up there and scare Scottie shitless. He wants to freak him out. So Winston and Scottie go up to the HOH room, oh boy, and Scottie gives him the same spiel about why he had to put both of them up. Winston did not even sit down for this conversation. Scottie was seated, Winston was standing, trying to, like, be intimidating. So Winston's like, alright, I just want to let you know, I told you that people were going to be up here kissing your butt, and that happened. So, like, I knew that was going to happen. And he says, you've forgotten that 2 people in your alliance flipped. I guess he's saying, because he's still trying to say that Haley and Rockstar were the 2 that flipped the first week. But it was one. It was Caitlyn. Okay, so then he's like, I'm convinced that you were the one that voted for me to stay, that 8th vote, and you just lied to the whole house about it. That is true. And he's like, I have no clue how you're getting by with that, but whatever. Probably because he's the HOH, so nobody's gonna confront him about his vote right now. Duh. So he says, it gets worse, guys. You just drew the line in the sand. You're gone next week. No questions asked. You just wrote your own eviction, so good luck. And he says, you better hope I go home because I'm coming after you. You're gone. Most of the house is going to come after you. Bye. So Scottie is just like, okay, I respect it. Good luck to you too. End of conversation. Okay, so Scottie talks to Fessy about the 2 chats. And he's like, oh my god, Winston is gonna tell everybody that I flipped my vote last week, but I didn't. Yeah, you did. And he was telling him just how Winston basically threatened him and said if he stays that Scottie's gonna go next. So Fessy's like, wow, Winston's an idiot, and he's gonna get evicted this week. But then Scottie describes how Brett came in, he was all calm and cool, and that just goes to show why Brett is more dangerous than Winston. Because he is a charmer. So Scottie is then saying, you know, he's got to come up with a plan just in case somebody wants to use the veto on one of those 2 jabronis. So he says if somebody wants to take them off, he's going to tell that person that their best friend is going to go up as the replacement nominee. Meaning like the person closest to the POV winner. Ouch. I don't know if he would actually follow through with that, but he's using that as a tactic to be like, don't use it. So, I mean, there was also talk of Caitlyn going up as a pawn because she offered, because she did put up Scottie as a pawn last week. So I'm not totally sure what Scottie would actually do in that situation. But anyway, Scottie went around the house last night telling other people about the chats with the bros, like, Winston threatened me. And again, it just reaffirms that Brett is more of a threat in the game. So then, I think it was Rockstar and Haley were talking about how they definitely think, they agree with Scottie that Brett should go first, and then they want to put up Winston and Angela or Rachel next time. So either Winston and Angela or Winston and Rachel. Just keep putting Winston up until he goes because they know he's gonna freaking fly off the handle. But I don't know, would they even have the votes this week if it stays Brett versus Winston to take out Brett? Because I feel like level 6 would still have the numbers with like JC and Sam. And I believe Caitlyn likes Brett more than Winston. I don't know if she would vote personally or strategically. Also, I'm pretty sure she'd probably do what Tyler says he's going to do. And I think Winston's alliance is realizing he's freaking nuts, man. He's a loose cannon. They're way better off keeping Brett. So I don't know that Scottie would even get what he wanted. Okay, so then last night, Sam was in the HOH room with Scottie and Tyler. She was like lying down on the floor behind the head of the HOH bed, and Scottie and Tyler were like looking down at her, talking to her. So they were talking about the power veto and different replacement nominee options, and ideally, of course, Scottie wants the nominations to stay the same, keep the 2 bros up against each other. But if the power veto is used, he's gonna have to put up somebody who he feels like won't go home against the bros. So Sam is like, you could put me up, Scottie. What? She's just like, trust me, do it. What the F are you doing? So Scottie is like, you're killing me. I don't like this at all. And Sam is like demanding that he make a pinky promise to put her up if the veto's used. So Scottie's like, I don't wanna, but I trust you the most. So they pinky promise. Tyler is just like, ugh. He covers his eyes. He's like, I am not a witness to this. I don't like this. Why is this happening? And Sam's just like, it'll be okay. Will it though? Because I see what she's saying. Like, she has the power. Scottie is like probably the only person in the house that doesn't know about it at this point. But she knows that she has that power, but it's only a chance to come back. Can you imagine if Sam goes up, gets evicted, uses the power, and then freaking blows it in that competition and does not get to come back? Oh, that would be rough. So she says that she misses her life. Is she trying to go? I don't think she's actually trying to like leave, but I feel like out of a lot of the other house guests, she would probably not be as upset if she was accidentally evicted. So anyway, we'll come back to that. But meanwhile, Angela was in the storage room with the bros. They're going through different scenarios with the veto. And Winston says, best case scenario, Angela wins power veto and uses it on one of them, because then at least 3 of them will be safe. That's if she's even playing. They don't know yet at that point if she's going to. Also, I don't know that Angela would use the veto on one of them, because that could mean Rachel going up. And Rachel and Angela are very close. And I feel like Angela would rather have Rachel around than, like, Winston, right? Okay, so then Angela's wondering, will Sam potentially use her power on either one of you? I would say probably not, but you never know what could happen, because Tyler could end up convincing her to do it. You know, he wants to keep the level 6 numbers strong, and there is only 1 more week after this that the power can be used, and it would automatically be used on whoever's evicted. So this could, you know, this could be the week to do it. So anyway, not Sam. Angela is telling the bros that they need to talk to Casey and Tyler, because they're super close to Sam, could potentially convince her to use it. We'll see what happens there. So then, after that, Sam and Tyler were discussing her power again, and Tyler's just like, hey, what's going on? What were you thinking back there? Why'd you make that pinky promise? So Sam is like, well, I'm worried if we leave the power until next week, things could get really messed up, because she feels like it's going to be a lot of pressure and it's going to be really hard to control who goes. And you got to think about it. Are they going to try and get rid of somebody that they don't want around and just hope that they don't actually come back? Or are they going to get rid of somebody that they like and hope that they do come back? So it's tricky to figure that out. So then Tyler's like, well, don't you think we should save it? What if you need it next week, or I need it, or Casey needs it? And Sam's like, well, we just got to make sure that doesn't happen. Couldn't you say the same thing about, well, we just got to make sure we get rid of the right person? You know what I mean? So it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of another. So then Sam is also worried about the anonymity of... Did I say that right? That sounds wrong. Anonymity. Oh my god, I've been working on this all day. I'm so tired. Okay, so she's worried about that aspect of it because she thinks it's going to look like she lied to people about having the power, because if she leaves it till next week, that evicted person automatically gets it, and they won't know that Sam had it, but like they probably will. But she's worried that it's going to look like she's a liar, and then she's going to have to tell people, like, I don't have it anymore. This part didn't really make sense to me. I wasn't feeling that part. But Sam also brought up that she had promised Caitlin if she was up on the block this week, she'll use it on her. Seems like Sam didn't really want to make that promise, but Caitlin asked her about it, so she felt like she had to. So then Tyler is trying to, like, fix this whole thing, because he really wants to have that power for next week. So Tyler's like, well, don't you think, like, Scottie would be upset if you went up, you went home, you used it, and you came back, and then he didn't even know that you had a power, and he was hurt that you didn't tell him about it? Plus, both of the bros would still be here. So Sam is like, I don't know, don't you think I would be safe up against the bros on the block? And Tyler's like, I don't know. Because Brett, maybe against Winston, but Brett has a ton of ties around the house, and Sam just does not get how that's possible. She's like, how could he be working with all these people and be loyal to everyone? How is that possible? Oh, Sam! Just because you're saying that you're working with someone doesn't mean you're going to be loyal to them. Come on, it's Big Brother. So Tyler is then like, well, if the bros are both still up there, maybe you want to use the power on whichever one goes this week? And she's just like, nope. She only wants to use the power on herself, Tyler, Casey, Scottie, or Caitlin. So we didn't get to hear any more of this conversation because it was interrupted by Fessy. And I don't think they continued it yet today, but I'm sure we'll hear more about it after the Power Veto competition. So today, they had the player draw for the competition. So of course we've got Scottie, Brett, and Winston already competing, and the 3 extras are Tyler, Rockstar, and Rachel. Does Tyler play in every competition? He's also going to be on that Total Knockout show with Kevin Hart, which they filmed like before Big Brother. That seems fishy. But anyway, it looks like Tyler and Rachel are both going to throw this competition because it would be super awkward if one of them won and Brett and Winston were expecting them to use it on one of them, and then Scottie would be really angry. So they don't want to win this. They're probably going to throw it, but you never know what can happen. So check back tonight for results. They should be doing the competition in a little bit. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until tomorrow, much love.